You know, I wanted to come in here today and have a focused transmission, go over all the documents and the evidence. I did a B-plus job in the first hour. And I'm kind of degenerated into a C-plus right now, maybe a C-minus, because I just can't get over the fact that it's a complete hoax. I have military and police sources that were telling me, get ready for some type of flu behavior coming up in the fall. I start warning people in March. They pull it in April. It's a non-event. And they're getting ready for total world government martial law, planetary forced inoculation. The UN's been caught over and over again spiking vaccines with sterilants and with cancer viruses and HIV. And I mean, I can pull up mainstream articles right now. This isn't a game, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, Google United Nations caught sterilizing women. It was in the news last week again. I mean, it's just everywhere. Don't take these people's shots. But I'm afraid my child might die. Hey, fine. You just go ahead and trust the medical establishment. Trust Joseph Mengele. Am I saying there couldn't be good vaccines and vaccines can't give somebody an immunity, like for tetanus and things like that? No, vaccines could be great. But a bunch of murdering eugenicists, you know, they brought back over 10,000 Nazi scientists and that they went to work for the vaccine labs and NASA. I was on the set of ESPN with Joe Rogan when he flew me out to UFC 96 or 97, I forget. Great guy, flew me out there, put me up in a hotel, gave me, you know, front row tickets, the whole 9 yards. And then I'm backstage with him before it starts, taping for ESPN for like the next 4 or 5 UFCs coming up. And they're all like, this is secret info you're about to see, the upcoming fights. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Fine. Of course, I did kind of get into UFC then, and it was nice knowing what fights were coming up. But look, that point doesn't matter. I'm behind closed doors, and there's the main ESPN reporter for UFC. And we're leaving, and we go out of the studio, and we're back in the trailers while they're editing pieces because, you know, we're waiting to go eat steaks with Joe. This is the night before the fight. And I'm going, yes, that's the Goddard Space Center. Absolutely. That top Nazi, Werner von Braun. And the guy was nice. He walks over, he goes, excuse me. You know, and Joe was doing voiceovers in another trailer area. It was the same trailer, but in a voiceover area. He'd left by then. And he goes, excuse me, you're saying Nazis set up NASA? And I went, yeah, it's an absolute fact. He just laughed at me. See, I guess the public thinks I'm making all this up. I'm not making any of it up. Werner von Braun, head of NASA, Hitler's top Nazi scientist. Goddard, second in command. I can go right down every department, CIA, everything. Run by Nazis. You're taking injections from these people. How am I supposed to sit up here and be calm? I know what I'm talking about, folks. I know what's going on. I do my research. Your life's in danger. Mine's in danger. I wish we could just beat these people. It's actually spooky fighting them. It's spooky getting death threats from them. It's spooky getting Army documents that later come out in the Baltimore Sun that the Army's following me around in Ron Paul at events. We have the Army spying on us because it's the Army's job to make sure the New World Order wins. This stuff's real, folks. The Army follows me around to and from work a lot of days. I got guys in high and tight haircuts, special forces following me around. This isn't a game, people. And I want to tell those troops something, too. They'll shoot your mama up with cancer viruses, too, boy. You better wake up and join the American people. If you don't know I'm the good guy and that you're working for the bad guys, you got a major malfunction. The truth is, I've been successful with this radio show because this is real. And everybody else goes through reality and goes through life caring about things that don't matter and not caring about the things that do matter. Well, let me tell you something. Forced inoculation and mass graves matters. And if we don't expose these bastards, they may go with a real bioweapons release and claim it's this stinking flu. Or the real bioweapon may be in the vaccine. That happened in 76. In fact, pull up the 60 Minutes. I want them to see the paralyzed men and women. Maybe we'll play a few minutes of it later. I said I'd take calls. I'm out of control. I just, every instinct I've got is go to the South Pacific, go to the South Pacific, go to the South Pacific. Go live in a shack in the third world somewhere with your family. Folks, I don't enjoy being on the radio. I don't enjoy all this stuff. I mean, there's a few cool fringe benefits being the leader of the, quote, conspiracy movement worldwide. But it isn't a conspiracy movement. It's reality. And the government's a bunch of lying crooks, and the general public's falling apart and mentally ill. I don't like being associated with a conspiracy movement. Half of them are schizophrenics. You know, I mean, look, everything I've said is documented at Infowars.com. So go there and check it out for yourself. Let's take a few calls. I'm going to blitz calls next segment. Let's talk to Cheryl in France. Cheryl, I'm sorry I didn't see you were calling from France earlier and you've been holding. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Yeah. Hi there, Alex.
Hi.
I just thought I'd give you an update of what I've been reading on the news in France. And evidently, it's not really working over here. There was a poll online at the magazine Figaro, and 78% of the people are not really afraid of this flu, as opposed to 20%.
Yeah, well, the feds will just show us a bunch of dead kids on TV and hype everybody into taking it. But yes, that's the good news. People aren't buying their bull anymore. Obama has dropped, according to Rasmussen, below 50. Go ahead.
Yes, and then there's Dr. Bernard Debray, who's a very well-known professor here, who has made a big announcement. It's been in all the papers about how the virus is not dangerous. And he said there's only been about 800 cases in all of France.
Exactly. Why all the top scientists that aren't on a drug company payroll say this is a joke? But see, why were they building mass graves before this? Why were they gearing up in the... Go ahead.
Anyway, so he said, what are we going to start counting the number of people who have diarrhea now? So he thinks we really need to calm down. At the same time, it's the WHO, the organization that is putting out all this fear-mongering information. So I've been thinking about it in terms of like a chess game. You know, we've got our players, they've got their players. And it's really it could be dangerous, but at the same time, it's going to be a waste of energy for us to be upset. What we have to do is to continue our fight in the political arena with all these terrible laws, and at the same time take care of our own health. And we don't. Well,
ma'am, let me just say this, and I'll hold you over if need be. You're very articulate, and we like having that occasionally. The issue here is... people seem to confuse. I'm not even saying this is real or a threat. I'm saying it's a fraud and a hoax. Why then all the mass graves, the martial law preparations that I told people about months ago, it's now mainstream news. Why level 6? Why are they ordering hundreds of millions of dosages in the U.S. alone and in Europe? Why? They're acting like this is the big one. So I'm saying the attack profile, the constellation of activities from government and media, I'm saying, tells me we better pay attention and we better worry about not the flu, but what's in those inoculations.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's the vaccinations that are going to be the dangerous element. Stay there. I'm going to come back to you on the other side. In fact, I'm going to just sit down, shut up, give each caller 1 minute, including you a minute more. Cheryl in France. Then we'll talk to Chuck, Teresa, Ruth, David, and others. Toll-free number to join us, 888-201-2244. 888-201-2244. Stay with us.